Hey everybody, it's Chugga Conroy! Welcome back to more Kid Icarus Uprising. In the last episode, we infiltrated Pandora's Labyrinth of Deceit at long last. However, a new evil arose from the Mirror of Truth that was located there, Dark Pit. In this episode, we're going to be trying to locate where the little slugger might have gone. But before we get started, I'm going to go into gear to show that I have changed my equipment against my better judgment to the Atlas Club. Probably the best weapon I picked up last time, but I'm not really a fan of clubs like many people aren't. They slow you down a lot, they're pretty much melee only, but for this particular chapter, I feel like it could work well. On top of this, I have also shifted around my power slightly. I decided to get Tirelessness because I got that last episode. Tirelessness is one of the best powers you can have for this chapter, especially if you're like me and you're going against your better judgment and going with a club. I will say, though, if I have to go in with a club in some level, because I do want to show all the different weapon types, this was kind of the best club I could have asked for. I mean, overall defense 5, speed 3, melee combo plus 4. I'll take it. Anyway, let's go ahead and move out. Now, I know what you're wondering. What is the Super Ultra Mama Tango Foxtrot martial arts secret of this stage that you're going to be showing up before we get into it? Well, it's actually here on the screen right here. Wow, excellent voice crack right there, really. I give myself a 9.5 out of 10 for that voice crack. Anyway, this screen right here, I've gone over how intensities work, you know, how you bet different hearts to go into higher difficulties and whatnot, and you see a bigger return based on how many you bet. But when you're on a 2.0, which is the standard difficulty, you are betting nothing to go in and you won't see very much return. But if you go even lower than that, you will actually pay hearts to lower the difficulty. If you just want to breeze through a chapter, you can do that. It's kind of nice. You see, as I go up in the difficulty scale, though, the flames get bigger, and the Fiend's Cauldron will look madder and madder until it has the sparkles in its eyes. But there's actually another secret on the screen. If I start tapping the Fiend's Cauldron, it'll rock back and forth. If I keep tapping it, it'll eventually start to look pissed off at me. And if I keep tapping it even longer than that, just for fun, it'll turn around and not want to look at me. And if I tap it even longer than that, it will eventually turn around to look at me for a few brief seconds and then turn back around again to see if I'm going to stop poking it. So, it's kind of cool. It adds a bit of personality, and I feel like that's what makes Kid Icarus Uprising shine. Personality, of course. Anyway, there are no intensity gates to be found here, meaning I gotta play this on 8 and with a club. Kill me now. Or rather, don't kill me now, because I'd like to do this without having to continue, because that'd be really nice.
I've located Dark Pit.
Where is he? Ow! Look who finally caught up. What is your problem?
Just saying, I like this music. It's so much different than the rest of the soundtrack, and in a very good way. Wish more songs were like this. Seriously, go give it a listen.
Are you with the Underworld Army? Is that why you have it out for me? Don't be ridiculous. I just don't like the idea of someone copying my act. What? But you're a copy of me! Come on now, think about it. If I was a copy, why would I kick my own butt?
I never really got the logic of what he's saying there. It's like, if you're a copy, wouldn't you want the original gone? I don't know. I don't mean to be annoying and point out logic and trying to find logic in every single thing that's said, but what I do want to point out is pointless recovery orbs are pointless. Seriously, how could you have taken so much damage that you need 2 recovery orbs by that point? I just don't get it. It's some of the weirdest item placement that is seen in this entire game.
You're a real go-getter, Dark Pit. I like that.
Is that so?
Yes, though I am curious how you plan to best your doppelganger. Of course, destroying Pit would be a snap to you indeed.
Don't make me laugh.
Did I say something funny?
You've got me confused with the other guy. This is no pawn. I'll take care of it. But only after I finish you.
Now this is a little bizarre.
I know, right? The mouth on it. I'd never talk about it.
That's not what I meant. Sorry, he can be a little thick. The Mirror of Truth created Dark Pit, so his allegiance should be to the Underworld Army. I wonder if the mirror cracked before the copy was complete. So that explains it.
So if Dark Pit isn't with the Underworld Army, does that mean I don't have to fight him?
The problem is that Dark Pit is fundamentally wicked and destructive.
Yeah, tell me about it.
He will attack anything.
Does seem pretty aggro.
He was created from you, Pit. He could very well be manifesting your dark side. His very existence is unnatural. He must be eliminated.
Okay. I mean, it's still weird to me, but it makes sense when you explain it.
He's such a suck-up sometimes, though, but then again, I guess when she's kind of giving you the power of flight, you kind of can't help but be a suck-up. Then again, I think he's the only angel that she still has now, because all the other angels were turned to stone, like I said back in the first Kid Icarus game. So, I guess he's just kind of the captain of Palutena's Royal Guard by default.
The Mirror of Truth was replicating monsters. So now that it's broken, the Underworld Army can't generate new troops, right?
If that were the case, their numbers would be shrinking, but that's not happening.
Where else can Medusa be getting her reinforcements?
I really don't know. There's something very strange about them.
Like their faces?
I'm talking more about their interior. Specifically, their souls.
So how do we get to the bottom of this?
Well, one thing's for certain, Medusa's the source of all this trouble. The Dark Pit presents the more immediate threat. For now, just keep the heat on him.
The Underworld Army should be shrinking, but it isn't. I won't spoil anything, but I love where that goes later on. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about how the club controls in the air, because I haven't said anything about that. It's a counterattacking weapon. You wait for enemies to shoot bullets at you, you hit them back at them like it's a baseball game. You have to keep your reticle near their shots to do so. On top of that, only charge shots, as you saw right there, are my way of firing my own bullets at enemies, really, with this. It sounds really awkward, but if you get good at it, I feel like it makes these flying stages really, really, really easy on higher difficulties, just because of all the bullets you're firing back. You saw there my special attack also changes when I have a club. It's different for each type of weapon, in fact, but the clubs is especially different looking. So you're going to have a pretty easy time in the air if you can get good at it, but I feel that the club is most difficult to master on the ground. We'll be getting into that when we actually get onto the ground. But for the time being, I am enjoying using this thing in the air because this weapon is awesome. I mean, heck, I just deflected a wave angler shot. How often do you get to even do that? Wave anglers suck on the ground if you're not used to them.
What's he doing with that?
And oh, this. Kind of funny that I was just praising the club in the air because club is probably gonna suck for this because I can only actually shoot at that when I can only actually shoot over there when I have a charge shot. Granted, I am hiding behind those rocks and I'm giving time to get a charge shot, but I just don't feel like it's gonna be enough time. Let's see. Even though I don't get it, all this does is give you hearts. It's yet another way that you can get hearts at a dark pit, but not really anything else. And with that, we are pretty much at the end.
What is that place?
They look like ruins of some sort.
I'd better land soon.
And I'd better get started on deploying my troops.
Come on! Is that really necessary?
Somewhere within these ruins is Pitu.
Gesundheit?
No, Pitu. As in Pit 2. As in Dark Pit. Pretty great nickname I came up with, huh?
But not as great as Medusa, right? Right? Anyway. So, the plan is to find Pitu and take him out.
Correct. He might try to escape, but we can't let him get away.
Understood.
I gotta say, I really, really dislike the name Pitu. I don't know, it does... I know the joke is that it doesn't fit him at all, but I just really, really have never cared for that nickname for him. But as we step forward in the courtyard, we're going to see what makes this chapter so special and one of the most memorable for me. First off, the Underworld Army is going to lead you to whichever path Dark Pit is down, and by army I mean one mono eye. Dark Pit can be down one of 4 paths. You get to do 2 of these every time you run through the level, so there's a lot of replayability, and he uses weapons that you yourself can actually equip, so it's a lot like a multiplayer stage within single player. And there's loads of variety each time you play. Maybe your weapon will be good against his, maybe it won't, you just kind of have to see. Right here on this route is actually the one I was hoping to get. Right here is a Chabot. It's another vehicle of the gods. This really powerful mech that can jump around and even generate shockwaves from jumping. But the best part of it is that you can actually just keep backhanding Dark Pit with a giant mech to defeat him. I can't get enough of this, and it's the funniest looking thing, just this giant mech! Great. I have actually already taken damage, and if that... no. It's really tough to dodge around with this thing. I need brief invincibility. I need it bad. Oh, man. Okay. Let's get up close. Oh, wow. Okay. Can I land a... Oh, whoa! Oh, man. Okay. Take him out before he does anything. Okay. Oh, my God. I can't believe I survived that. Okay, that was exhilarating. I have like 1 health. Over here, you get a treasure chest. I got poison attack. Okay, not really that useful. These boxes would explode if I were to attack them, but with a club, it's not really the easiest thing in the world to do, so that's kind of why I didn't bother. Over here, we have yet another treasure chest, and I think I might have realized what segment of this level I'm going to be playing next, and I'm really not looking forward to it. Really, really not. Okay. I'm going to take out this Kiram right here, and I will talk to you guys in just a second, because this is going to take a while with a club. Okay, took care of it. Still got my 1 health, haven't gotten hit, it's on intensity 8 still. Let's see if I can just, oh, food never looked so good. That's a really, really stupid thing to say, but I actually think about it. And good, I actually didn't get the segment that I thought I was going to get. I mean, this one's not going to be easy, but still. Need to go up here, and we got some mix to deal with. Okay. I need to play this, like, really, really safe, though, because I'm not really used to playing the melee classes, and because of that, well, I don't know, I did pretty decent with the clubs, though, but you know what I mean. I like shooting a lot more than I like meleeing, which it's a shooter game, so it kind of makes sense. Oh, and another thing that I wanted to mention, actually. As you see there, Dark Pit has a different weapon than he had before. Depending on which segments of the level you play, he will have different weapons, and these are weapons that you can actually equip. For example, he's got an easy cannon right there. For that reason, I was actually kind of hoping that I might have a really, really good weapon that, you know, he could potentially use on me so I could fight him with the same weapon. But that ended up not being the case, unfortunately. I don't have any, like, good versions of those weapons. So he kind of has the ultimate, range class, whereas I'm using the ultimate melee class. So this should be kind of interesting, actually. Hey! Another thing about cannons that I didn't mention when I was using one is that they actually do have self-injury on them, just because they're that powerful. So he might... I don't know if he's actually told to do damage to himself in by the programming or not, though, but it would be kind of interesting if he was. Okay. There we go! Wow! Dang. I might actually stand a chance here. I am doing a lot better than I thought I would. In fact, I thought for sure I was going to die instantly as soon as I got to the ground part of this level. Now, up next, as we go back to the fountain, this is gonna, well, it's gonna kind of suck. Okay, let me do a health recovery so I can just get through here safely. No, that's not what I mean by safely. Okay. Right here. You need to be careful, because that Drink of the Gods is right next to the grind rail. If you are dashing, you're likely to lock onto that grind rail and not pick up the Drink of the Gods, and you are going to be at a serious disadvantage against Dark Pit. I have done it before. It does happen. Don't think that it won't happen to you, because it can. Okay. Got 2 health recoveries, got 2 weak point reticles, got 2 quick charges for this fight. I'm in pretty nice shape. And I don't like you. Get lost. Oh. Wow, it's like I shoot it away with my club and it actually ran. Come on. There we go. And as we ride up this grind rail, here we go. I gotta say, this field is actually kind of interestingly shaped. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Can we get to the top already? This is taking forever.
Let's do this! Bring it, puppet! What are you calling a puppet? Palutena says jump, you jump. She says fight, you fight. It sounds like a very satisfying existence. For her, that is. I have absolute faith in Lady Palutena. The mirror of truth doesn't lie. I'm a reflection of your true self. So maybe your faith in her isn't quite so absolute. What would you know about faith anyway, you treacherous blackheart? Lady Palutena always guides me the right way. That's why I follow her. In the mirror of truth you mentioned, it's nothing more than a pane of lies. Pandora was just using it as bait. Looks like I touched a nerve. Me thinks the puppet god will test me. Will you give it a rest already? Okay, fine. Do what you want.
Starting out this fight with Dark Pit, he's going to be using the silver bow for our final encounter with him in this stage. Looks very similar to the weapon that Pit uses in Brawlin' on the box art, but it's not quite the same thing. He's going to fly all around, he can do special attacks just like in flying stages. It's actually kind of an interesting fight, but I am really sucking at it right now, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to make it because... Oh, I actually did it! Okay, that was a really, really close fight. Dang, I will gladly take that. I struggled, but I earned that victory. I can't believe that I actually survived that. I should have really died there, but I didn't.
Wait!
No, let him go. He's in for a big fall. And we need to get back to stopping Medusa.
Well, if I was able to beat it at Intensity 8, I might as well see what Sweet Luda got me. A Rail Canyon with, not Rail Canyon, that's terrible Stage of Sonic Heroes. A Rail Canyon with 4 stars range, that's actually not too bad. Ogre Club, wow, the health plus 5's in, overall defense plus 2's nice. I probably won't ever use a club ever again, so I'll probably just fuse stuff out of that. Poison Attack, yeah, double item. I guess it sounds pretty good in theory. I might have to try that out, actually. It's level 2 even. But Chapter 6. You might be thinking that, oh, got an achievement. Wow, get interrupted by me getting achievements. Can't believe I beat that in 15 minutes, actually. But back to what I was saying. You might think that we're done with Chapter 6 now. Not even close. I mentioned earlier that there's 4 different routes you can possibly go down from the courtyard, and that you will do 2 of them each time that you play. And also, the Dark Pig uses weapons that you yourself can equip, and maybe you'll be strong against whatever weapons he chooses and which ones he doesn't. There were 2 paths that we never went down, and there's also a few little extras that I just flat out never went over. First of all, on the flying stage, you can see that Dark Pit is using a first blade. Keep in mind that Dark Pit was just created shortly before this chapter began. The first blade's also what we started out with at the beginning of our adventure, so classy, Sakurai. Very, very classy. But that aside, on the paths that we went down, the Chabot path, he uses the Violet Palm. We haven't actually gone over palms yet. They're ranged weapons that use magic to deal damage, and they specialize in elemental effects. On the second path we went down, that steep hill, he was using the Easy Cannon, which I've already gone over in an earlier video because I used it for a whole chapter. So that actually worked out really nice that he used a weapon that I already had gotten to use. And then, of course, when we fought him up top, I already said he's using the Silver Bow, and I talked about that and yada yada yada. But what I want to tell you about are the other 2 paths that you can possibly go down from the courtyard. First of which is this really long, winding mountain trail where Dark Pit is shooting you with a Dark Pit staff, once again very fitting, from the top of this mountain. This is why I recommended you equip Tirelessness. It's incredibly helpful to just watch the edge of the screen, see when fire's coming from the top of the mountain, and just repeatedly dodge as you see it coming in. You'll get really tired if you keep doing this without Tirelessness, and you're likely to get shot a few times, but Tirelessness makes this incredibly helpful. He also seems to have the lowest health whenever you're fighting him in this area, so I guess if you get up close to meleeing him, he can't really do much to defend himself. So that's cool and all, but it's the 4th and final path I'm going over here that you really, really, really want to replay this chapter for. He's going to use the Ogre Club on you in this underground area here, which is the strongest melee weapon in the entire game, but its charge shot is incredibly slow and super easy to avoid. If you get close to him, though, you're pretty much done for if he's good at using it, of course. As you see right there, I actually got finished on it. So, going onward, though, that's actually not what's so special about this area. After defeating Dark Pit, you'll get this treasure chest, and on top of that, this area opens up, the Zodiac Chamber. Going here will get you the Gemini Orbiters, which, again, is an incredibly classy weapon choice. I like how the Gemini weapon is Orbiters, which there's 2 of, so that is already really fitting. But it's even more fitting that they give it to you in the chapter that's, you know, Pit and Dark Pit, Yin and Yang, you know, all that stuff. And it's super, super classy they put it in this chapter, and they also designed the weapon the way they did. So I'm a huge fan of that. Once again, very classy, Mr. Sakurai. But that pretty much does it for everything in Chapter 6. No intensity gates, nothing else. So, I guess we're going to end things off here. Next time on Kid Icarus Uprising, we are going to be going to the Seafloor Palace in Chapter 7, the Seafloor Palace. How redundant of me. Ah, well. See you guys then!